friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Find a Way podcast with Dusty. Hopefully you're doing well on your journey. Wherever you live, wherever you stay, whatever place you call home, if you realized after coming home one day that someone got into your house, you'd likely want to know how they got in your house. Like someone you don't want in your house, or someone that isn't invited, doesn't have a key. If someone got in your house, you want to know how. So let's lay this out. Say you find out someone got in your house and you look and there's a bedroom window open. What are you doing, or what are you going to do now that you've realized that, there is a cop cutting off the on-ramp to a freeway.
That was wow.
And, hey, we're going to pivot, okay? You ready?
Pivot.
I don't know what this officer is pulling this individual over for, but obviously they broke some sort of law or they broke something. So the police officer is pulling them over for a reason, for a purpose. This also can relate to the fact that someone got into your house and broke into the window. Number one, somebody got into your house, you realize it's through a window. You're going to lock that window. You're going to put some protective measures in place to make sure that someone doesn't come in through that window again. You would be, not irresponsible. I mean, there's no one coming to point you're irresponsible for not taking care of that window or not preventing that window from being accessible by someone again. Just like, you can't say the irresponsible part in regards to someone getting pulled over. Like this individual, say they broke the law and ran a red light. It would be wise for the person who just broke the law by running a red light to saying, you know what? I broke the law. I did something I wasn't supposed to do. It doesn't prevent them from not doing it again, but it gives them a good awareness that, hey, I'm not going to so easily get away with running the red light. I actually remember that I got 3 tickets within 3 months right before my wife and I got married. And it was upwards of $1,000 worth of fines. And if you knew where we were at that time financially, 3 tickets financially impacting us right before we were about to start our life, get into our first apartment, everything in between, it absolutely put us and set us back. So I remember, and I still remember now, to where I pay attention to the speed that I go on these longer stretches, and I don't actually put the cruise control over a certain point. I have learned a safeguard from me getting a ticket in the future. It doesn't say that, hey, I don't speed, or I don't know if that actually does say that I don't speed, but like there are moments where I have to speed up and get around somebody. It's not like this foolproof I could never speed, but I'm using wisdom to say, hey, I thought I was slick in speeding, but I got 3 tickets in 3 months. I'm not that slick. And I'm going to have to do something about this so that I don't experience the financial impacts. But, there's some, license issues if you get too many tickets. Just like someone breaking into your home, getting into an accessible window, all of these things have to do with vulnerabilities, whether it's your house, whether it's your knowledge of your ability to get away from the law and not get a ticket. All of these things are opportunities for us to make a pivot or for us to make an adjustment. So this is where I think about this time of year. It's about Super Bowl Sunday. Usually everyone who has started the journey during New Year's, right around this time, because I know I experienced for so many years, for years and years and years, I'd get on the journey about January. Okay, I'm starting something, I'm getting on something. And then right around Super Bowl Sunday, I'd go to a Super Bowl party, I'd go to a get-together, I'd dive into some appetizers, food, everything in between. I would easily down 10,000 calories. And then because I fell so hard on Super Bowl Sunday, I essentially now was not someone that was going to stay consistent after that, just because I got the taste of the food that I was so just starkly avoiding. I was just so like, oh, I messed up. I was doing so good, but I messed up. and I would slowly fade. And it was about February going into March that I wouldn't be on the plan. I wouldn't be on the journey anymore. I'd go right into gaining some weight back. And then come summertime is usually when, oh man, I see all these folks enjoying the beach, doing this or doing that, and then I'd get back on the journey again. It was an endless cycle, and for years and years and years, it was start something in January, and right around Super Bowl Sunday, it would be dive in, binge, go after it, and then fall off. That's a vulnerability. If I don't use wisdom, if I don't actually soberly tell myself, hey, this is a vulnerability of mine and I need to make a pivot, I need to make an adjustment, then it is on me. Like I said earlier, it's not like somebody is so aggressively, you're irresponsible for leaving your window open. No one's like pointing the finger at you, you're irresponsible for falling off the journey. Like, no one's pointing the finger at you. This is a discussion you're having with yourself. This is a discussion that where you're sitting there saying, I want to stay consistent on this journey. I want to start something and I don't want to fall off. I want to keep going this time. And so it's in wisdom, it's with a sober mind that we say, okay, I've dove in, I've veered off on this Super Bowl Sunday party. I've had this, I've had that. All the stuff I said that I wouldn't have, I've had. Okay, that's a moment. That's a singular decision. Oh, this past 3 or 4 days I've fallen off. Okay. Out of 365, if you're consistent for 360, that's a pretty good step forward versus where we were before. So I think yet again it's a good reminder that you didn't gain the weight overnight and you're not going to lose it overnight. And that your progression has to do with periodic small steps that eventually add up. And so if you're someone that has always historically, like me, started in the beginning of the year and have always fallen off during Super Bowl Sunday, don't this time. Let this be a moment where you're saying, you know what? I'm going to learn about the vulnerabilities. Somebody broke in. What got a hold of you? Okay, oh, it was a party. I always fall off on parties. Okay, I just put a post on Instagram that gives you wisdom and some ideas on what you can do to plan to have a successful party by not falling off the journey. Some of it talks about bringing your own snacks. Some of it talks about prioritizing protein at first. Some of it talks about finding alternatives. You know, hey, I really want, I usually get wings, or I usually get, chicken nuggets or chicken breasts. Like, there is baked and grilled chicken wings that are high protein that you can stay solid on the journey. There are alternatives that you can find. There are alternative snacks, and I have pictures of a bunch of different snacks that I pick up at Costco and other places that I can just bring with me to these parties. It's knowing what your weakness is, knowing what gets you out, building wisdom, building a plan for what is your open window. What's your open window, and how have you soberly and with wisdom made a plan to safeguard yourself? Because it's not like the person who, think about, got into the house, if they come back, where are they going to go? The same window. If you don't have a sober plan, you don't have wisdom dealing with that vulnerability, it's still going to be the same thing. It's always going to happen because you haven't addressed it up front. Just like this individual that just got pulled over and why I went quiet for a little bit, that person better learn that, hey, at this intersection, you can't run the red light, or you can't say they don't know the law that they broke, or say they don't know the speed limit. Hey, actually, this is 40 miles an hour. Oh, I thought it was 55. They're going to learn from here on out that that's 40 miles an hour and that they're not going to continue to go 55. Sure, they can. Sure, you can binge, or sure, you can start the journey again in New Year's and then fall off in Super Bowl. Sure, you can do it again, but it would be wisdom, it would be smart for us to make pivots and adjustments to better ourselves for the future. So whoever this is for, this 10-minute quick episode, let it be a reminder that you've got a plan. That's why journaling, and I've probably mentioned journaling and all that stuff on so many different episodes. It's because it works. You've got to write down, you've got to document what gets you out. What's your vice? Think about it. If we're dealing with food addiction, And another common addiction that folks deal with is alcohol or drug addiction. What's the way through for them? What's the way out? It's oftentimes understanding what the trigger is that gets them to binge on alcohol, to abuse drugs. What's that trigger? The trigger is the open window, is the vulnerability. You've got to learn it, you've got to know it, and you've got to build a plan to safeguard against it. So I'm hoping that helps. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and I hope you continue to find a way. Let's go, let's go.